Asterisk 124 hours remain. Yosuke jumped from mountaintop to mountaintop, trying to shake off the incoming group of students. However, the students were relentless, weaving around every mountaintop. Yosuke clicked his tongue, taking landing on a mountain slope, putting Izuku and the girls down. Did they want confrontation? Fine then. The vines in Yosuke's arms grew as he turned to face the oncoming students. He jumped, firing at them with incredible velocity. Incoming! Kirishima yelled as they noticed the man getting closer. Ochaco released the zero gravity on themselves as they scattered, landing in different places amongst the mountains. The only one who remained in the air, barely pushing himself up, was Todoroki with his flames. Yosuke shot straight for the half-and-half boy as Todoroki readied himself. As soon as Todoroki could see the whites of Yosuke's eyes, he aimed his left towards Yosuke, firing the biggest wave of flames he had ever created at the man. The sky lit with orange and yellow as the flames engulfed Yosuke. Yosuke, however, shot through the flames, his coat burning, as he grabbed Todoroki by the collar, slamming the boy down into a mountain top. Seems like you're already out of steam, kid, Yosuke said as he stood over the teenager, his foot on the boy's chest. Todoroki grabbed Yosuke's ankle, little ice coming out, however, not enough to do damage. Yosuke kicked the boy with his iced ankle, the ice shattering on impact with Todoroki's cheek. Oi, back off of him, a voice called out. Yosuke turned to see a red spiky-haired boy charging after him. Kirishima hardened his fist, getting close, throwing punch after punch. Yosuke backed up, dodging the punches with ease. You're nowhere near as fast as that Midoriya kid, Yosuke said, backhanding Kirishima. The hardened cheek of Kirishima cracked as he fell collapsed, rolling down the mountain. Yosuke cracked his neck and turned towards where he left the bodies he needed. He watched as two teenage girls made their way to the bodies. He sighed. Asagiri's portal would be ready soon. Mina, grab the girls. I'll grab Izuku. Ochaco called out, flying towards the bodies with Mina alongside her. You guys won't be grabbing anything, a raspy voice said. Ochaco and Mina looked above to see Yosuke's flying down towards them. Each foot landed on both of the girls' backs as he used his weight to send them back into the snowy ground. He straightened himself as Ochaco and Mina were being pressed into the ground, Yosuke still standing on them with each foot on their backs. You kids seem tired, Yosuke said curiously. Why are ya charging me with no energy? Guess I can't talk. That Midoriya kid put up quite the fight. Yosuke looked up to see green energy coursing the area he had left the unconscious bodies at. The body of Izuku Midoriya stood, legs still broken, his body bleeding. The brightly glowing green eyes turned to view Yosuke, standing on the two girls. Move, punch, uttered the boy. Suddenly, in a flash the boy was in front of Yosuke, still standing on the girls. Izuku punched the air, sending Yosuke flying into a mountain top. Yosuke shook his head, a few rocks falling off as he looked down at the green energy. The teenager was still staring up at him with empty glowing green eyes, uttering the same words. Move, punch. Yosuke laughed to himself. The boy was still allowing the quirk to take over. What did Asagiri call that quirk? One for all. This wasn't good. Yosuke remembered the power of the pink energy when Izuku had fought the gaslighter guy. This seemed weaker, however. The energy was still green, and his body was still hurt. Was this a fractured version of One for All taking over? Or was it still being influenced by the final request the boy had made before giving out? To punch Yosuke. Yosuke sighed. No matter. What mattered now was making it out of this alive. As Yosuke collected his thoughts on the side of the mountain, the face-planted Ochaco and Mina looked up at the version of Izuku before them. Ochaco smiled weakly. Izuku, are you okay? She asked. However, the team took no notice of her. Ochaco's eyes turned from relief to panic. No, this was wrong. Something was going on. This wasn't Izuku. Was this One for All? But why did it feel so dangerous? Move, One for All said as it prepared its body to launch. Punch. The body launched forward towards Yosuke. Yosuke, using the mountainside as leverage, jumped back, the veins in his arms about to burst. This was it. He had to use the last of the amplification to incapacitate Midoriya. The two collided, creating a shockwave of wind pressure and green energy. Ochaco forced herself onto her feet. She looked down at Mina, who seemed to have passed out. Ochaco looked up at the two titans fighting above her, shockwave after shockwave of punches being thrown. One for All wouldn't last much longer. She looked back at where the two unconscious girls of Eri and Hima lay. If they took the girls, Izuku in his current state would just chase after Yosuke. They had to stop Midoriya first. But how? She watched as Yosuke was slammed into a mountain top by Izuku. Ochaco jumped zero-graviting herself towards the teenager. She grasped Izuku on his back as Izuku was pounding Yosuke into the mountain. Izuku, One for All, stop, please. Ochaco shouted, clinging to Izuku's back. The eyes of One for All darted towards Ochaco. Move, punch. With a swipe, Ochaco was thrown of the boy's back, colliding into a mountain top next to them. There she lay, pain coursing through her body. She looked over to see Todoroki laying next to her. She landed where Todoroki was beaten. Roki, we need you. She crawled over, shaking the boy. Todoroki blinked as he forced himself up. What happened? What's going on? Izuku. His quirk's out of control. You need to freeze him. It's the only way. Ochaco said. Todoroki stared at her. What's the plan? Yosuke continued to block as One for All continued to pound him into the side of the mountain, punch after punch after punch. Yosuke gritted his teeth. He was going to lose at this rate. But then, he saw it barely visible from a distance. Yosuke caught the purple portal Asagiri said would be left for him behind Izuku. Yosuke smiled. Perfect. Yosuke kicked the quirk-controlled boy back, jumping towards the bodies of Eri and Hima. One for All, collecting itself, prepared to jump after Yosuke before its entire body froze over. With a final breath from Todoroki, the boy collapsed. Ochaco, her legs shaking from weakness, looked up good. Izuku was frozen solid and theirs. All they had to do was get the girls. Ochaco had relaxed too late. With a crash, the ice broke. Izuku controlled by one for all, broke free from the ice made by the tired ice user. Yosuke had grabbed the girls and looked up to see one for all chasing him. He smiled. Perfect. Now he just had to make it to the portal with Izuku following. Yosuke, too, had relaxed too soon. He felt the excruciating pain of his heart falter. He collapsed to his knees, dropping the girls. Time had run out. The amplification was going away. He didn't have long. Izuku, wait. He heard a girl call out. Yosuke growled, staring at the brunette who was flying after Izuku. She was still moving. How tough was she? He looked down to see another person running after him. The kid with the hard skin had woken up and was running after him. Yosuke clicked his tongue. This wasn't going to work. A sacrifice needed to be made. These kids were heroes, right? Let's see if they truly are heroes. Yosuke grabbed the girls and threw them each off the mountainside. Immediately, Kirishima jumped towards one of the girls, desperately running to catch one. Ochaco watched in horror. Izuku was running right into the enemy's hands, but the girls were in danger. Izuku or the girls? Which one did she choose? There is no choice. I'll save them both. Izuku's words rang in her ear. She released, aiming and catching the body of Hima before it hit the ground, Kirishima barely catching Eri. Ochaco looked up to see Izuku following Yosuke towards the portal. Kirishima, throw me. Kirishima listened, grabbing Ochaco by the arm, spinning and throwing her hard as he could. However, she wasn't aimed for Izuku. She aimed for who Izuku was chasing after. You're not going anywhere, Ochaco screamed. Yosuke looked down to see Ochaco barreling towards him. He had enough. Ochaco grabbed him, but the moment she did, Yosuke touched her forehead. Time for you to forget, girl. Immediately the light in Ochaco's eyes went out as she too lost her memories as she now began to fall down the mountain. Yosuke landed in front of the portal, Midoriya seconds away from him. His arms pulsated. One last shot. As soon as Izuku landed, Yosuke struck the boy in the head. Once again, Izuku went cold. Yosuke, in his last waking efforts, grabbed the boy and heaved him through the portal. The portal closed. Ochaco crashed to the ground. Kirishima ran towards her, holding Hima and Eri as he looked up. Midoriya. He screamed, but it was too late. The portal had closed. Izuku was gone. Asterisk 123 hours remain. Dot 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 dot. Kenlair here. I know there is a lot going on in these chapters. Please let me know if everything made sense. Do we need a chapter 80.5 for me to explain everything going on, or did I wrote it well enough for it all to make sense even with all the moving pieces? Let me know in the comments. If not, then I will see you guys in the second half of Shit Hitting the Fan. Yes, this was only part 1 of Shit Hitting the Fan. Kenny boy.